So joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspaper from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabite Efeni. Great to have you, sir. Action.
Good morning, Rufai Oseni.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Vimba.
Good morning, my leader.
Yes.
I see that you're still giving us the fashion this week.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
I can see it.
That's how we roll.
That's how you roll level.
So, Vimba, yes, another opportunity to say you did very well while I was away.
Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to keep your seat warm. It was a pleasure.
Yes, we'll start the review with These Days Nigeria's newspaper of record. We'll start with These Days story above the masthead. NMPCL begins search for private operator for refurbished Port Harcourt refinery. Fixes applicants' annual turnover at $2 billion. Well, the NMPCL, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, has called for expression of interest from oil and gas firms to bid for the operation of the Port Harcourt refinery, the refurbished Port Harcourt refinery, once it is completed, because we're told the other day they've completed the technical side of the refurbishment. So once the job is done, the NMPCL is looking at the option of bringing private operators, and they believe that this way, well, we'll be able to guarantee and improve the dependability of our fuel supply. Of course, with Dangote refinery ready and already rolling out products, aviation fuel, diesel. If the Port Harcourt refinery comes on stream and also being run by private operators, and we hope they will do a better job. And of course, there are other refineries that are still undergoing turnaround maintenance. The Warri refinery, the Kaduna refinery, and the Port Harcourt refinery too, all in the works. So a nation like Nigeria, an oil-producing nation, should not only guarantee the dependability, the sustainability of fuel supply, but we should be able to supply a number of our neighbors, and we make good money, hard currency from the supply. So NMPC looking at the right direction, but I hope that will not be limited. The search for these operators will not be limited to Nigerian oil and gas companies, because I'm sure there will be foreign investors who will also be interested. But I want to say we'll keep a watching brief on that. And the lead story at Armed Forces Day, Tinubu other leaders honor nation's fallen heroes. Yes, yesterday, January 15, of course, Armed Forces Remembrance Day, a day to salute our gallant soldiers, fallen heroes, those who are still serving, for the good job they are doing over time and they continue to do. And we expect them to do more. But we must take care of our men in uniform who are there to put their lives on the line for the security of the nation and for the security of all. So yesterday, the president led that tribute, and governors around the 36 states of the Federation were also there out in the various state capitals to remember our fallen heroes and salute the gallantry of our men in uniform. Now, but the photograph, yes, the upper photograph there, yes, Hope Uzodinma, the Imo State governor, was sworn in yesterday for a second term. And of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was there to grace the occasion, and former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was also there. I cannot remember when I saw President Bola Tinubu and former President Olusegun Obasanjo at the same event, and they were smiling. Well, some good optics there, but beside that photograph, there's something we cannot smile about. Kidnappers of Abuja residents killed 2 more victims, raise ransom to 700 million naira. Well, this is a sad story of kidnapping, which the Punch newspaper is saying is now of epidemic proportion. Abduction epidemic spreads nationwide. Kidnappers move from expressways to Lagos, Ogun, Abuja city center. Abductors kill 2 young victims, demand 700 million naira ransom for 9 others. Well, Vimba, earlier I listened to you raising the issue of how we are reporting whether we are doing it well. I want to believe it was just a rhetorical question in view of the sadness that should accompany this kind of stories. But the journalist has to do his job. I don't want us to fall into the trap of some military top brass who once claimed that by the way Nigerian media report these criminalities, they are glamorizing terrorism and banditry. No. These are issues of national significance that, in fact, the whole nation should come to a standstill for these persons who are in captivity, for these persons who have been slaughtered, murdered. Imagine some people taking American citizens within America, and you kill one of them, asking for ransom. The full weight of the American military will come down. And that's what we expect to see. So the newspapers will do their job, and they are doing their job this morning. If you look at the Daily Sun newspaper, kidnappers go gaga, rake in millions from Abuja victims. The Nation newspaper has it somewhere also. Terrorists, bandits on the rampage. The newspapers will report it. The Leadership newspaper, kidnapping crisis. FCT residents blame security agencies. And of course, other newspapers. So the newspapers will continue to report these things.
I think the concern, if you'll just allow me to interject, is
please, go ahead.
There's a story of the 700 million that went out and was carried by several outlets. And of course, thankfully for our own Ferdinand Durahoa, he was able to debunk that because he actually went to the family. He took the time to do a thorough investigative job. And my appeal is to those who ran with that story without taking the time to do. 700 million is a huge sum of money. And, as we said earlier in the show, you don't need to glamorize these huge amounts of money, especially when you haven't verified, you haven't fact-checked.
If it's not correct, that's another matter.
So it's just to ensure that it's true and accurate. Yes, but reporting
what's happening,
we must report.
We must continue to do that, right? But the New Telegraph newspaper, perhaps a suggestion from the Nigerian Legion, New Telegraph newspaper. Yes, Nigerian Legion. Nation needs more soldiers to combat insecurity. Perhaps that is a message to the president. But in all this, I want to say that, and a number of persons will agree with me, that I have not seen the kind of commitment from the president to tackling this issue. Yes, if security agencies are making effort to track these kidnappers, they are not going to publicize it. But we need to see the president coming out very strong. Perhaps at this time, if I were the president's advisor, I would skip the Imo governorship swearing in. I don't think that was a big deal. Exactly. There are more pressing national matters we expect to hear from the president speaking on what is being done. I'm not talking of consoling us. Yes, he's the father of the nation. It should be the chief mourner when Nigerians are slaughtered. But we need to hear actions being taken. Yes, President Buhari once gave marching order to the Inspector General of Police, move and relocate to Benue and deal with the issue. Although the IG did not obey. But I'm not sure if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gives that kind of order and somebody did not obey, President Bola Tinubu will just gloss over it. No. So we need to see action from that end. That is what we're saying. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, 438 million naira contract. Interior Minister to face CCB today. Code of Conduct Bureau. Yes, the minister, Adetunji Ojo, has been invited by the CCB, despite his defense that the firm which he founded that got that contract from the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, that, well, I resigned some time ago, but a company you found at this time getting contracts. Of course, there are reports elsewhere saying that that contract was endorsed by top echelon of Asovila. But I'm sure that is another matter. But the minister has been invited by the Code of Conduct Bureau because I think over time we said this also, and the CCB is on the right track, and we hope they will follow this through, and where there are infractions, then I think the law should take its course. The Vanguard newspaper, insecurity, government run riot in Abuja, Enugu, Ekiti, Katsina, 3 others. Yes, still reporting the story. Now, the Guardian newspaper, federal government strained to meet 650 million barrels target over crude-backed loans. One of such loans, remember, the Afri-Exim $3 billion loan to be paid back with crude. And the Guardian is reporting that from the 2024 oil productions projections, federal government will struggle to meet its commitment. But if you have taken a loan and you have made commitments, then you just have to ensure that those commitments are fulfilled. Now, the Business Day newspaper, Nigeria's problem is low export, not high import. Yes, yesterday, the Business Day newspaper was reporting that Nigeria is not import dependent. Of course, I'm sure many will argue against that, but they were basing their report on statistics that, in fact, the problem is that we are not exporting enough to earn the much needed hard currency. So it's part of the challenge for the government to also ensure that the environment is created. We have the products. We only need to add value, export, and get more money instead of just exporting raw materials, these products in raw form, to other economies where they add value, make money, and even send some back to us, as we have been doing in the case of petroleum product. Now, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Adelabu unfolds roadmap for power sector, says federal government spent 700 billion naira on electricity subsidy in 2023. Let's quickly look at the foreign newspapers so that I can yield the floor to you. Now, the New York Times is reporting Trump wins Iowa in key first step towards rematch with Joe Biden. Yes, caucus voters look past the indictments the former president has received in recent times, and he polled 51% of the votes, with DeSantis coming, you won't say distant, of course, it's called 29%, while Nikki Haley polled 19% of the votes. So former President Trump marching forward towards picking the Republican tickets to square up against Joe Biden. I don't want to use the words he used to describe Joe Biden in those campaigns. And of course, the Times of UK reporting Sunak will speed Rwanda appeals in SOP to rebels, promise more judges and court time to deal with migrant challenging decisions. Rufai, Ayo, and of course, Vimbai, the official link between Nigeria and Zimbabwe.
Okay, so I want to start from the foreign scene,
Yes.
then I still have more things to say about President Tinubu and the insecurity situation. Trump winning Iowa means a lot. The caucus season has started. Caucus and primaries. They're going to have a lot of them till you have the Republican Party convention. Trump didn't just win Iowa by about 20 percentage point. He beat all the other candidates on their major matters, the area of interest that voters are supposed to vote to them. He beat the likes of Ron DeSantis on immigration. He beat the likes of Nikki Haley on other issues that she advocated for. So he has a momentum that is unassailable as we speak. The late-minute Nikki Haley surge apparently couldn't stop the momentum of Trump. It's now a three-horse race. What I probably will think will happen is probably by Super Tuesday or before Super Tuesday, DeSantis will fall out of the race. It will be Nikki Haley, while Trump will definitely emerge winner in the end. And I should think by Super Tuesday, there should be more clarity. And I think Trump should have officially emerged. Because, yeah, probably Nikki Haley will make some grounds in New Hampshire. When he starts to come into the southern states, I don't see anybody stopping Trump. One other thing, when you look at the areas, from Seoul City and some other areas, apart from the mainland Des Moines in Iowa, is the fact that Trump has started winning all those rural areas again. The last time he went in the Iowa caucus against Ted Cruz matched him pound for pound in those rural areas. But for now, Trump swept across those rural areas, the base of Trump's voters and the rural areas. So I see Trump going ahead to win this Republican Party nomination. And by stretch, I will predict that by December, Trump might, over a 60% chance, emerge president of the United States of America.
I'll let him pick the ticket first.
No, he will pick the ticket. By Super Tuesday, I might be wrong, but by Super Tuesday, I feel the race will be over. Secondly, I think President Tinubu needs to be careful. Because this nonchalant attitude from the commander-in-chief as regards security issues in the country is very sad.
Well, I don't want to call it nonchalant attitude. Maybe it's not doing enough to project, but not necessarily nonchalant.
No, this is what I'm going to...
Because I'm sure he gets security briefing every day.
And I deliberately...
So the president cannot afford to be nonchalant, Rufai.
I deliberately...
Maybe we need to hear more from him.
No, I deliberately called it that, and I'll tell you what, I'll prove my point. I felt that when the president went to Imo, and he talked about the issues affecting Nigerians, I felt he should have spared a thought for people that were there. Even just a line. For those that are battling kidnapping, I am with you, I'm your president, I will solve the problem. That's all I needed. But nothing was said. That's why I say that. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, well.
It depends on them to prove me wrong.
Just on that note, I'd like to, can I just see the This Day newspaper? I want to show
just
something
put on
very
the This Day again.
This Day front page, please. Just something, the irony of the headlines or the front page of the newspaper. Please, can I see this? Yeah. So just on the top, we see Senator Hope Uzodinma, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and former President Olusegun Obasanjo smiling. And then I think just beside
just beside it. I said it.
Yes,
that
just
beside it, they're smiling, but the story beside it is not a smiling matter.
I think that is a sum total of where we are today in terms of the fact that on one hand, the people are lamenting and pleading, from that report from Ferdinand, pleading with kidnappers to have mercy. They've even left the government to plead with the government to rescue their people. They are pleading with kidnappers to have mercy and collect the ransom they have available. On the other hand, we have three principal actors in the Nigerian state laughing and smiling as if all is well. I said as if, I didn't say it was, but I'm just saying.
I don't want to say that the editor deliberately
No, I didn't say the editor did. I'm just saying,
no.
but it's just the truth he was reporting. Whether it was not, obviously, it was not deliberate, but this is the picture of Nigeria, the situation where the elite are acting as if nothing is happening.
Well, that's why I said
suffering.
Perhaps President Tinubu shouldn't have been there. Because what was happening there happened to be a smiling matter. So in the second term of Hope Uzodinma, who, don't forget, has been dogged by this Supreme Court. But this is his second term. He won. No.
Very quickly, a headline in the Punch is found by 14 states spent 21 billion naira on foreign trips despite zero FDI. This is an indictment. We often focus on the center. We have 14 states who in the last 3 years spent trillions of Nigerian naira to go in search of foreign FDI and came back with nothing. What they cited in some of these states, like Zamfara, was that, the insecurity and Benue states, insecurity situation made it not attractive for foreign investment. But they kept spending our money to go abroad on these visits, on these trips to attract nothing. So they could not spend that money to solve insecurity in their state. Rather, they used that money to go abroad in search of FDIs. We must have a critical look at subnationals, not just at national level. You know, we talk about the president, he has trimmed down his entourage and all that. Subnationals, the state governments, we need to have a look at them and really probe what they're using the people's money to do and how much investment they're attracting to their states.
You want to ask why there's pressure on the naira? Because everybody, subnationals, they are traveling.
Just traveling abroad.
You know, because they buy foreign exchange. They travel with foreign exchange, right?
To show.
Yeah. Well, my take is back to Donald Trump. Of course, Joe Biden has already admitted, he said that looks like Donald Trump just won Iowa. He's the clear front runner on the other side at this point. So, you know, this election is going to be hinged on geopolitical issues, I believe. Of course, there's pressure at home, but the honest truth is that it's going to be difficult for Joe Biden to recover from Ukraine, to recover from Gaza. The Americans are angry, not just Americans. I think he's this time around the Democrats are not getting the sympathy of geopolitics and the world at large. So I'm quite keen to see what a Joe Biden, Donald Trump rematch will look like this time around, because it's looking good for Donald Trump.
It will be an interesting one, because I can imagine Trump on the podium when that campaign starts. He will have enough words to say about Joe Biden.
I think it was premium content.
Give it to Trump. He will tongue lash the sitting president.
Absolutely.
But I hope Joe can respond. I don't want to add Sleepy Joe.
Well, like it's now Genocide Joe that they're calling him.